Greetings internet, it's Monica and today I am here to share a new book haul. I'm so excited. I love book hauls. I love hauling books and I love watching book hauls. So I'm really excited to share these new books that I have recently acquired. I feel like I went so long without really buying many books and now I'm kind of playing catch up with all the books that I have been writing on my various lists this year that I really want to get to. So I feel like I'm at a point where I'm probably good for a little while. My reading really needs to catch up with my hauling. But I'm so excited to be sharing these books with you guys. And the first one that I'm going to be talking about is Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power. And I'm also so excited to be partnering with Get Underlined in order to share this book with you all. This has been one of my most anticipated books of the year, and especially right now I'm very much so craving all things autumn and spooky season, so I feel like Rory Power is the perfect thing to be reading. So this novel follows Margot, who is a teen girl that her whole life has lived with her single mom and has never had any contact with any other family member. She's never even heard of any other family member, and this has always been a mystery for her and something she's wanted. And one day she discovers a photograph that leads her to this town where she hopes to find answers to all of her questions about her family. However, when she gets there, the town isn't exactly what she pictured, and it's actually very eerie and isolated. And while she's there, she uncovers all of these dark family secrets and understands why her mother left in the first place. And yeah, I'm just really intrigued for this one and to know the mystery behind it. I want to know why her mom left. I want to know what her family was up to. I also saw one reviewer compare this to Children of the Corn, which is a movie that really messed me up as a child. So I'm actually even more excited to read this one because of that. I also really love the fact that Rory Power writes gritty stories about teen girls, especially queer teen girls. That's something that I think, you know, is not something I've really read before, and so I'm really excited just for her voice in general. And yeah, thanks so much again to Get Underlined for partnering with me for this one. So excited to pick it up this summer and early fall. If you want to learn more about Burn Our Bodies Down, I'll be sure to have more info in the description box below. So going along with that sort of desire for spooky season content, I also picked up the next two installments that I needed in the Girl from the Other Side series, so volume 4 and volume 5. This is one of my favorite manga. I love how whimsical it is, but also suspenseful. Basically, this follows this little girl who is living with a monster. So in this world, there's the inside and the outside, the other side, and the humans live on the inside, and if you are touched by one of the monsters then you become one. So the humans like hunt the monsters and kill them, and this little girl is being protected by one of the monsters while he also like is terrified of ever turning her into himself, or a monster also. And I love this one because it has all these like lovely moments of like domestic life between them that just like makes me so happy. But then it's also like this mystery and this suspense story, and definitely has those sort of like spooky whimsical vibes to it. So yeah, I just love the combination within this manga, and it's definitely one of my favorites. I'm for sure behind on it though, so I feel like every few months I finally am playing a bit of catch up with it, so I'm doing that again and really excited to pick these two up. Then I was sent a couple of books, and I was actually really excited about these because, so these are both from Penguin, and something that they've been doing recently is reaching out to Own Voices reviewers for different books that have representation, for them, and I just really love that. So for both of these books, they reached out to me because they are written by Korean authors and feature Korean characters, and I don't know, I just like really appreciated that, so I wanted to mention it and give it a shout out in this video. But the first one, both of these are like definitely some of my most anticipated books of the year. The first one is Super Fake Love Song by David Yoon. This is a novel that follows a teen boy whose older brother is this really cool musician who's off on tour, and while he's on tour he ends up pretending that he's actually the super cool musician in order to impress a girl. So obviously, you know, we got some lying and some hijinks, and I'm sure it'll be very stressful. And then the next one is Vicious Spirits by Kat Cho. This is the sequel to Wicked Fox, which I really enjoyed. Wicked Fox is a urban fantasy that's set in Seoul. It follows a girl who is a gumyo, and I love this one because it has a lot of the like tropes of YA supernatural stories, but one, it's set in Korea, features Korean mythology and Korean folklore, and two, the girl is the like predator character, you know, like it's usually the boy who's like the vampire or the fairy or whatever it may be. And I really like this series because it kind of twists that on its head. So I really enjoyed the first one. It definitely gave me like K-drama vibes, and so I'm so excited for book 2. I obviously don't want to talk about the premise of this one because I don't want to give away anything for the first book, but oh, I'm so excited. Also, this cover, it's so beautiful. This next one I picked up because two of my friends, Reagan and Elias, have just raved about it, and it is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I actually tried to buy this a few months ago, but I accidentally ordered the paperback and didn't realize that it wasn't out yet. So I like pre-ordered the paperback for February 2021. So I canceled that and was just gonna wait for the paperback, but everyone just kept talking about how amazing it was. So I was like, yes, I need it. What originally drew me to this one is the fact that it has a quote from Seanan McGuire on it that says, "This book is very close to perfect," which I love Seanan McGuire's Every Heart a Doorway series, so I knew I wanted to pick this one up. So this book is about 6 magical children who live in an orphanage on this far off island, and Linus, who is this 40-year-old caseworker who is tasked with the role of trying to see if these children, these magical children, are so dangerous that they might bring about the end of the world. I've heard that this book features found family, which is something that I love reading about. Also on the back it compares it to 1984 meets The Umbrella Academy with a pinch of Douglas Adams thrown in. So that sounds amazing. Next, I picked up The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise, and this is by Dan Gemeinhart. This is an author that I've heard amazing things about, and I've especially heard wonderful things about this story in particular. Basically, this one follows Coyote, who for 5 years, her and her dad Rodeo have lived on the road in an old school bus. They've been living like this ever since her mom and 2 sisters died in a car crash, and she hasn't been back home in the amount of years that they've been on the road, and she really wants to go back home. So it's about like her journey and kind of trying to trick her dad into going back to their home. It's a middle grade novel, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. So I always love checking out new middle grade. And again, I've heard such wonderful things about this one and this author. So maybe this will be a new favorite author for me, and I can go through and read all of his books if I love this one a lot. Then I got The Wicker King by Kay Ankrum, and this is a novel that I picked up because I thought the format of it just seemed really interesting. Basically it follows 2 teen boys, August and Jack. August is this misfit who has like a pyro streak, and Jack is the golden boy on the varsity rugby team, but Jack ends up having these hallucinations, and August is trying to help him through it. And I know that in the novel, the like, I don't know if you could see it, but like it gets darker and darker as the novel goes through, and I think that's like representing Jack's mental status and like his sort of descent into these hallucinations. So I don't know, I just think that's really interesting as far as a format goes, and I love when books play with, you know, different ways of storytelling outside of, you know, words on a page. So I'm really excited to just see how that affects the reading experience, and this is another one that I've just heard really wonderful things about. This next one I bought 100% because of so many of you all. Basically, I had an Instagram live recently, and I don't even know if I asked like for book recommendations, but all of a sudden 3 of you at once said, have you read this book, or you should read this book. And so I immediately after that live went and ordered it, and I'm so excited. It is Keeper of the Lost Cities. So this is by Shannon Messenger. It's a middle grade fantasy novel. Honestly, I don't know anything about it. I just know that so many of you recommended it to me, and so I was like, yes, I will pick this one up. Let me read the back really fast, see what it's about. We have 12-year-old Sophie Foster has a secret. She is a telepath and has a unique ability to hear the thoughts of everyone around her, something that she's never known how to explain, and has made her an outcast, even in her own family. But everything changes the day she meets Fitz, a mysterious boy who appears out of nowhere and also reads minds. She discovers there's somewhere she does belong, and staying where she is will put her in grave danger. In the blink of an eye, Sophie is forced to leave behind everything and start a new life in a place that is vastly different from her own. That sounds so fun and interesting. I don't think I've read a novel with like mind reader characters, so that's really fascinating, and I want to know where her real home is. So yeah, this one, very excited for it. So excited that so many of you all recommended it to me. And then the last book is one that I have been waiting for it to come out on paperback, and I didn't realize that it had. Every time I've seen it at the bookstore, I've been like, I want that, but I do not want the hardcover because I will never read it. I'll never pick it up. It's too big. And then I finally realized that the paperback had come out, so I was like, yes, now is my time. And that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is a adult fantasy novel. It is a standalone, which is really exciting. I feel like that's a rarity in fantasy. It's huge. She's chunky. I also know that this features female romance. I don't know like people's sexualities, so that's why I try not to say them unless I know. But I know that it features that, and that's really all I know. I just know that it's a really long fantasy novel written by a woman featuring queer girls, and that's all I need to know to want to read it. Also, it's absolutely beautiful, and I love a big book and a big floppy book is like next level. So this is my book haul. I feel like it looks so small on camera, but to me it's so many books. But yeah, I'm so excited to dive into these books and read them. So many of these are definitely on my autumn TBR, but I'll be talking more about that in a future video. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Have you recently purchased any books? Are there any of these books that you've read and enjoyed or really want to get? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you again to Get Underlined for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more about Burn Our Bodies Down, I'll have info in the description box along with a link to check out more about the book. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!